device. How's that? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Let's see. Can you guys hear me now? Let me know. Perfect. I'm guessing you can hear me. That's good. Sorry, I'm using this OBS software for the first time, sort of, and trying to figure it out. It's very complicated. It's got a lot of doodads and whiz bangs and all that sort of stuff. But it looks for a nerd like me, looks like it'll be a lot of fun in the future to be able to swap camera angles, put overlays on the video, share videos. Do some other neat little effects and stuff, which I think will be pretty cool in the future. So I'm having fun nerding out in the off season. I've been just consuming YouTube and learning some new skills on using stuff like this OBS. I had to upgrade the computer. Oh, hat's falling down. I had to upgrade my computer. It was an old 2014 MacBook Pro that I've been using for 8 years. So it was time for an upgrade. It was, overdue for an upgrade. Although it served me well, that little base MacBook Pro 2014, 8 gigs of RAM. Did 400 and so YouTube videos with that thing. So upgraded to a new 16-inch MacBook Pro with the M2 Max chip. So kind of went all out this time with the unit. So hoping to do some cool things and be able to have a computer that will allow me to try new stuff in the future as well. How you guys all doing? We got the Lawn Fellas and CR Lawn Maintenance and Rick Vallejo. Is that correct? Vallejo? The wife finally convinced you to pull the trigger. Yes. Although I am kind of still on the fence. Even though it's one of those things. It's just hard to justify the amount of money for a laptop. Even though, it's been, I've been doing this social media stuff and videos and stuff for 8 years. So it's kind of like, okay, I know that I'm going to get good use out of it. It's probably the most used tool that I use in doing podcasts and all the videos and social media and all that sort of stuff. So it's, well overdue. It was getting some real pain points. But I'm one of those people that is, even though I'm really, I consider myself sort of a techie and tech geek and all that sort of stuff. It's hard to throw out stuff that still works and to just kind of say, hey, I'm not using it. The old MacBook Pro still works perfect. It's, but it just can't do this sort of stuff, right? Can't do live stream stuff with it. And video editing on that computer was very limited in terms of, iMovie was basically about it, and it was starting to slow down with that after 8 years. Was having some trouble. The fans constantly spinning up, and was doing that. Thoughts on the 2024 Xmark stand-on 32-36 inch? I think that Vertex, I think it's called now. I saw that at the Equip Expo. I'm pretty impressed with it in terms of the additions they've made to it since the Staris model when they first came out with that 32-inch design. Previous to that, if you guys remember, they had sort of like I think it was called the Vantage, which was kind of like the Toro, basically Toro Grandstand model, and that was only 36 and bigger. And then they went to the Staris models, and they had the E series, which was the 32, 36, and then they had the S series, I think, or it might have been X series in the larger models. And they kept them separated because they had to build them on two separate platforms. So there was the 32 and 36 share the frame and platform, and then the larger models share that platform regardless of what deck size and stuff you get. So they're really two completely different machines. The pushback on those early Staris models, a lot of people, it was very polarizing, the looks of them. But Exmark did a lot of cool stuff with them. They did, the motor that was mounted to the deck itself. So the motor moved up and down, or no, it was mounted to the, it was the opposite of that. It was mounted to the operator thing. So the motor didn't move. So there was a lot of controversy with that. People saying that, it's going to overheat. It's stuck in sort of this operator tower. But they had cool things like bent stainless steel hydro lines on that unit. I don't think there's any other machine on the market that has bent stainless steel hydro lines. They're all just rubber flexible ones. So there was a lot of really nice engineering that was put into that particular Staris line. But pushback is what it is, right? And people voted with their wallets, I guess, because Exmark quickly changed that model to do the new Vertex models, right? Something a little bit more familiar in looks with what people are accustomed to. But they kept the Staris in the 32 and 36 inch. But now they've rebranded it as the Vertex, and they've changed some things. So previous, the one that I had was, it had a gray gas tank. So now it's black to sort of, they're kind of just matching the look of the Vertex models with the Staris. So the front hood on mine that lifted up to expose the belts and stuff, that was red. And it was, it had a bunch of like holes and stuff in it, where now it's solid and it's black. So just to kind of change thing. And then now, of course, they got rid of the 4-point manual height adjustment on the Staris models, on those first two models. That first year that they introduced the Staris, it was only the manual 4-pin height adjustment. And that's the model that I had on the 32. And there was a ton of pushback from people on that. For me, it didn't really bother me because I was already used to using the Turf Tracer, which is a 4-pin, and then the Exmark Navigator, which is a 4-pin manual height adjustment, and how I kind of, starting back with the Turf Tracer, when I was using that, I just got accustomed to, mowing all of my lawns at the exact same height, so I didn't have to deal with the pins. And for me, that was 2.5 inches, worked really good. And it also let me drive the Staris onto my trailer at the height of my trailer with the ramp, and it would just clear the trailer without getting hung up. So I didn't have to deal with height adjustments and stuff with it. And with all my machines, I just get on them and they're all set at 2.5. Push mowers, everything's all set at 2.5. That's what I mow at. And it works really well. With the smaller mowers, I'll adjust the rear wheels, maybe a notch down or a notch up, just to kind of change things around and to compensate and to do some things like that. But there was pushback, of course, with that that 4-pin manual height adjustment. So they added the next year, the optional single point height adjustment was an option. You could get the Staris is in either the 4-point or the single point. And my guess is that people voted with their wallet and were only buying the single point height adjustment. So now they've gone away completely with the manual height adjustment and gone to the single point height adjustment. So you got that handle that you can pull up and adjust the deck that way. So I think it's a great little machine now. It's kind of dialed in. It really depends on your usage. I was able to get into some pretty crazy tight spots, tight backyards. There was one in particular. I wish I had filmed it. It was pretty. I'm actually shocked that I that I actually took the stars in there. I had to, on this property, go around. It was up a driveway. I had to go around the corner, and then it was like the house, and then a wood like landscape tie retaining wall that went around the corner. So I had to squeeze through around the corner. Then they had their gas meter right beside it. I had to squeeze past that, go along the sidewalk, and then there was a little drop off, maybe 3-4 inches, where the sidewalk ended and the lawn started. So I had to like get onto the lawn, go through the backyard, and then to get back out, I thought I'd be able to get back out on the other side. There was a gate, but I couldn't get out that gate. So I had to come back the way I went in. But I had to do it backwards because going forwards it wouldn't work. So to get over that little curb part on the front, so I had to get the back wheels, the bigger back wheels, up over onto the sidewalk, and then back out along that tight sidewalk between the retaining wall and the house. It just fit going through there, and then around that gas meter, and then I had to turn the corner to get around the corner of the house, and then back out the driveway. It was pretty crazy. I never attempted it again after that because I was like, it just took way too much time to do. And then my fear was, I just wanted to see what I could do that day, and the driveway was open. But my fear was you go into the backyard and you go mowing, and then you come back out and somebody's parked their car in the driveway, and now you're like stuck without having to go and get them to move the car and stuff. So I never bothered after that going and trying to try that again. But overall, the Starses and I guess the Vertex now, the 32, 36s, great machines. The only thing I would say on the smaller model, the 32 inch, is if you are like for me, I'm in the Pacific Northwest, so it rains here all the time. And the 32 inch has what you could refer to as pizza cutter tires, right? I've heard that referred to by a lot of people in those like 32 inch size mowers. So to be able to have that tight deck, it's got to have really narrow tires. So that puts all that weight of that machine, and they're very heavy. They are built like tanks. Like I know you hear that all the time, but these are literally built like tanks. So they're very heavy, and then you have your operator weight on the machine too. So here in the Pacific Northwest, it was kind of sketchy certain days. Depending on the amount of rain and stuff, it could easily rut. But I have seen guys and talk to guys that have used that exact mower in places like Florida and things like that, and where they're more sunny climates and drier in the areas they're mowing, and they love them. They're going through them, flying through lawns and stuff, and it's doing a fantastic job. Toro came out with a 32 stand-on, also looks like the Stars. Yes, that's because Toro owns Exmark. So they share a lot of stuff. They borrow ideas. Sometimes they're a couple of years behind each other, just like in the case of the Staris here, where Toro would have had their 36 inch models and stuff, but they needed that 32 inch model, and it's just easier when they own Exmark anyways to just use the frame and stuff of that. It's already made, it's already engineered, right? So they just put it on. The same thing with the Navigator that I own. Toro has a version of that too. I think it's called the 6000 or something like that. At any rate. Thank you for all the great content, by the way. Oh, you're welcome. Appreciate you letting me know that you get value from it. Boneyard Lawn Service. Afternoon. Lawn Care Business Success. It was a pleasure meeting you at Equip Expo. Well, it was a pleasure meeting you as well. And everybody that came up and said hi. It was kind of a surreal experience to walk down the aisles and have people just kind of call my name and stuff, and thank me for content and stuff like that. So it was kind of cool to be able to have people do that. It can be like here I am in a room by myself and hanging out, and this is kind of like what it is with podcasting, except this is kind of nice because I see a live chat here, right? So I can kind of tell that there's some live bodies joining me. But when I'm podcasting, it's pretty lonely sometimes, right? You're there by yourself, and you just hope that, hey, people get value from it, because there's not that instant feedback, right? The only time you really get feedback is people that will send you a DM message, or a comment occasionally regarding the podcast on, say, like Instagram or something, or the podcast reviews. When you get those, then you kind of get an idea of whether the content is of value to people. So it was nice to meet people. The Lawn Fellas, Hustler Surfer Pro 36 looks like they got it right. Not heavy compared to the others. Yeah, that would be a big factor. I haven't Hustler Surfer Pro. I think I know the one that you're talking about. Very narrow, very dainty looking, like very lightweight looking, much smaller tires, I think. Like very bare bones is how I would describe it, if I'm thinking about the right one. I might not be, but I think that's the one that you're talking about. But yeah, it looks a lot lighter. I personally, for me, would trade, like, don't get me wrong, I love Xmark's build quality. It's amazing. And of course they have to build to sort of the population, right? They have to build it to, they can't have a million models for different places, but I wish they could. Basically, I wish they could have a Pacific Northwest edition. You see that a lot with like RV trailers and stuff. They'll have a Pacific Northwest edition, right? It's just a one that has better insulation and stuff like that. If you're going to be doing winter camping because it's colder here, you only have those few couple of months of summer where it's warm, so the trailers have more insulation and stuff like that, so that you can enjoy them more year round. So I wish there was sort of that with lawnmowers and lawnmower brands, right, where they had like a lighter version. That's why I love my Turf Tracer. It's a 2009 model Turf Tracer, and I love it because it's less than 400 pounds. And I think the new ones, exact same 36-inch Turf Tracer, is about 700 pounds. So they're building them a lot better. But mine's a 2009. I bought it used, and it's fantastic. It's held up for, it's full commercial quality, but it's so much lighter weight that it's fantastic for me in the conditions here of the soft ground and all that sort of stuff. Hello from Tractorman Lawn Care. Hello, how are you? William Swan. The Lawn Fellas, yes, you're right. Very simple design, plus the price is half of the others. Oh, there you go. That's always a bonus, right? Price is a big thing, especially this day and age. It's it's crazy. Like I was talking about at the beginning of this broadcast about the computer that I just got to be able to do these live streams and stuff like that. Going from a 2014 MacBook Pro that I bought brand new in 2014, and I believe that was $1,400 in 2014, which was a lot of money back then. But it was a base model, and then going to this 16-inch brand new MacBook Pro. That's a 16-inch with the top-end M2 Max chip that had come out just before the M3s had just come out, and this was $4,300. So that's a lot of money for a computer, right? So lawnmowers, it's the same thing. It's and like I said, I feel justified buying the computer because I've done so much over the past 8 years social media wise with the old computer, but it's still hard to put that money out. So I feel you when it comes to mowers and stuff like that. You're justified because you're using it for your business. You're going to be earning money with it. And that is the takeaway. It's not like, hey, let me go. I'll tell you guys a story. Two seasons ago, not this year, the year past, I was mowing one of my clients' lawns. And the next door neighbor had their garage open. And they have a classic car in the garage. And we had that summer drought last year where we had a really extended summer. So it was going into October with really, really summer-like temperature still in October. So I noticed, his garage was open and he happened to be outside. So I just, just to chit chat, just to comment, I said to him, "Hey, so have you been enjoying the car since we've had like an extended summer?" And he said, "Actually, no, we haven't driven it in 16 years. It's been parked there." It was a 67 Mustang and it was immaculate. You could eat off of the bottom undercarriage of this car. And he started telling me how it was his wife's dream car. She bought it 30 years ago, used it as her daily driver. Then it became kind of impractical. So then, she bought another car. They kept it, drove it once in a while. And then over the years, just stopped, driving it. So then he was saying that they're actually going to put it for sale. So I thought, ooh, light bulb. Like, hey, that's a nice looking car. 67 Mustang. The thing is immaculate. It wasn't a fastback. It was just the notchback or the normal ones. But it was nice. It had the GT wheels. It was really, really nice. It was red. Had the V8. Really nice. So then I asked him how much he wanted for it. And at the time, he told me $15,000. And I was like, 15,000? Like, that car's worth 30,000 at least, right? Like, is there something wrong with it or something, right? And it was one of those things where I was so tempted. I came home, I talked to my wife about it. She was like, "Hey, if you think it's a good deal and stuff." And it was like, I don't need a classic car. I like old cars. I do, I've had classic cars before. But it was, again, one of those things. It's a purchase that you make. And yes, I could put some time into it. I could flip it. I could do some sort of, things with it. But ultimately, for me, it was like, but it's not making me money, really. It's going to... I could do those things and make some money with it, but then you have, my teenage son who's like, sell it. Like, if you buy the car, you can't sell it. You got to keep it, right? So I'm like, right? So there goes the investment part of it, because my son's not going to let me sell this car. And I don't necessarily want my 18-year-old son driving a 67 Mustang, the V8 and all that sort of stuff, because that's just not a good equation. So ultimately, I just... it was always in the back of my mind, but I never said anything about it, never really pursued it or anything like that. But with mowers and machines and things like that, it's different, right? Because you're putting that to work right away. You're using that to make your living. So that's where it's kind of justified, whether it's a computer for your business or a new mower, piece of equipment and stuff like that, is that you're putting that to work right away, building your business and all that sort of stuff. It's not a boat. It's not a thing, unless you're a commercial fisherman or, whatever the case may be, that you need that, right? Or, you have a whatever that you need a classic car for. But, you guys get my drift there with that. Sebastian Jolie. Hi, Julio. Watching you from New Zealand. Honda Morga. Hey, how's it going? How's it going from down under? And you're probably in the future, I would guess. Being with the time change, probably a day or so ahead of me. The Lawn Fellas, have a wonderful day, everyone. Gotta run. Hopefully we can catch another alive with you guys. I have some time. Yeah, have a great day. Trinity Lawn Care. I've loved your content over the years. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm glad the content has brought you guys some value. That's awesome. I'd love to hear the feedback. Dylan Sala, I'm 13 with a lawn care business. Do you recommend the Toro Time Master or the commercial X-Mark Toro? Normally I would say the commercial one for sure, 100%. But in your case, because of your age, I would say that just one second, guys. Just one second. Just gotta text my son. I see him on the security cameras coming home, so I'm just texting him to keep it quiet when he comes into the house. So I would say normally I would say to get the commercial, always get the commercial. But at your age, being 13, I think you'll be okay with the residential model. You're probably not going to be doing the same workload as somebody who's doing it full time. But just keep in mind that those machines, although they look the same, the deck wise and all that sort of stuff, they are vastly different machines. Right down to the pulleys and stuff are completely different. So it's very common for guys to get that particular mower, and then once the pulleys get shot, that they'll do the commercial pulley upgrade. Basically, they'll go and get the pulleys, order pulleys from the commercial version, and then put it on that one to get a little bit more longevity out of it. So just be cautious of that. That is a potential possibility that you will need to do. Do about 20 weeklies. Yeah, you'll probably be okay with the Time Master version of it. Be definitely a good start, and be able to get into doing it a lot quicker, obviously with the price tag. Do you cut any acres? Yeah, good advice. If not, stick with it until you get bigger. I stick to about quarter to half acres. Yeah, that's about what all of my lawns are as well. Are all in that size range. The quarter acre to half acre. That type of size is primarily, mostly actually a lot more smaller ones, probably 1/8 acre as well. 7,000, 8,000, 10,000 square foot properties, probably for the majority of them. Yeah, I really prefer the small properties. I think they're way more profitable than doing bigger properties. But of course, if you're out in like a rural area, then you're not going to be able to do those smaller properties, right? You got to kind of do the ones that you are able to. Yes, Time Master works. Yeah, lots of guys use the Time Master. Like I said, unless you're pushing it, doing tons and tons of lawns, and have sort of a reasonable expectation of what you're going to get out of it, and needing to do the maintenance and stuff required on it. So like I said, those pulleys and things like that eventually, then you should be fine with it. That's what you're concerned about, wear and tear. Yeah, just got to keep up on the maintenance on it. A little, more than the Commercial 30. With the Commercial 30, for example, I use that machine as my primary mower for up until August of this year, when I started testing battery stuff. I switched to the battery stuff, but if it wasn't for the battery stuff, I'd still be using that Commercial 30. So I put 3 seasons on it full time, and only at the start of the last season, so after 2.5 years, I got all with the original belts, all running perfect, and I only needed to change the one belt, the actual, not the timed belt, but the standard like V belt that goes from the motor to the first pulley that runs the blades. That was the only maintenance thing other than oil changes that I had done on it. Weight is a obvious concern, but then again, I'm running an EcoPB 9010 SE. Yeah, that 9010 is very, very heavy. I have a 9010. I used it for 3 months initially when they came out, and then I just stopped using it after that first initial year, doing the initial cleanups with it. And then I just decided it was just overkill for the sizes of the properties. If I was doing like really big properties with tons and tons of leaves and stuff, that would be, a completely different story. But most of my properties are small, so a smaller backpack blower that doesn't have as much weight, and then now I'm using the battery ones, seem to suit me a lot better. They work perfectly fine. The lawn fellow says, Dylan, put an hour meter on it. I did that and got over 278 hours on it first 2 years. Awesome. Fantastic. So there you go, guys. Maintenance is the key. Put an hour meter on it that you can check. That's one thing that I'm so surprised that, I remember when I was in that Echo UAG program, that was one of the things I kept bringing up to them was, they have their X series of trimmers and the 9010, the blowers and all that stuff. And I was like, why does this stuff not have hour meters on it? You guys sell these UCAN maintenance kits for people to do their own maintenance with spark plugs, air cleaners, and all that sort of stuff. If you're on a big mower, it's going to have an hour meter on it. It's going to remind you when service is required. Why not kill two birds with one stone? It probably cost them, $1 or something to put an hour meter on a trimmer or a blower, but then it's going to remind people to do that maintenance, which is going to sell those maintenance kits. It seemed like a no-brainer to me, but it fell on deaf ears, and I'm just surprised that they don't do that sort of stuff. And I had to have told them that a couple years in a row about that. I think it would also differentiate their equipment from the competition, and also the different product lines of going, they have this X series that they're kind of promoting as their top commercial. Put a hour meter on it, so guys can check on their maintenance. Lawn pals, okay, really leaving now. Have a wonderful night. All right, we'll catch you later. Will you, Blake Cooper, will you be attending the Landscape Ontario Congress this January? Cheers. I'm not sure. It doesn't look like it, though. There was some talk of maybe going to check it out. I definitely would like to go check it out. Never been to the Canadian version of the Equip Expo, so that would be fun to check out. But I don't think, because what is it now? Today's the 20th of December, and it's January 9th, so it's like literally in a couple weeks. So unless anything changes between now and then, probably not. But you never know. Last minute, it's not like it's out of the complete realm of possibility. It's only a 4 or 5 hour flight or so from where I am. Do you ever get tired when using the X Mark 30? I'm going to the dealer on Friday to check out Time Master and Turf Master. I'm just concerned about the weight will kill me if I've been using it all a day. No, I have never had an issue with the weight. I think, I don't know. Like, I always got those comments on all the videos. I did a ton of videos on the X Mark Commercial 30. I always got comments from people about the weight, saying that it's way too heavy, that it wears their guys out and all that sort of stuff. And I just never had an issue with it. It was very easy to use. I found that it rutted lawns, again, in the Pacific Northwest when it's wet and soft. It rutted less than a 21-inch mower. And I think even though it's a heavier mower, if you look at the tires between the 21 and the 30, the tires are a bit bigger. There's a softer tire than like a hard plastic tire, like say on the Honda HRC mowers. It's sort of got like some cushion to them. A semi-pneumatic, I would call them. So, and then the other key as well was that belt driven transmission, which allows you to kind of feather the transmission. So by squeezing that bail for the self-propel, if you squeeze it softly, it just kind of starts to go. It's kind of like if you ever remember, you say you were 13, so you may not have experience, but if you're driving, say, a manual transmission car and you have that third pedal, the clutch, and you kind of let out the clutch slowly. It's kind of slipping and you're kind of getting into that gear slowly. It's kind of the same thing with that belt driven transmission, where as you're squeezing it lightly, you're letting that belt kind of slip. So instead of engaging the wheels right away, it doesn't dig into the ground. I can kind of just feather the machine slowly in those kind of wetter conditions. And then because the wheels were bigger and stuff, it just kind of floated. But in terms of turning and stuff like that, it was easy. Just push the handle, pivot. I never had an issue with it. Where I did notice it, though, was going to the battery motors. That's when I noticed the difference. Going from a gas-powered commercial mower like the Hondas and stuff, which are already heavy mowers, to the commercial 30, it is heavier, but you're already dealing with heavy mowers, so you're kind of used to that sort of muscle memory and stuff like that. But then going back to or going to a battery mower for the last 3 months, I noticed right away how light the battery mowers were. And then it was anytime I had to move the commercial 30 in the garage to like move it out of the way and stuff like that, after not using it for a while and using the battery ones, it was like, oh, this thing is heavy. That's when I noticed it, was after not using it for a while and using something that was on the complete opposite spectrum. The battery mowers are so light, especially when you don't have the batteries in them. If you're just moving them around, it's like they're a feather to move around. With those, with the Honda, I found the Honda because it was pretty heavy as well. And I use that, the Honda HRC 216s, I used that for like 13 years in my business every day. It was like 90% of the lawns I mowed. But skinnier tires, hard plastic, in the rain and stuff like that, I had to be really careful with that one. And then that hydrostatic transmission, you have to be very careful, because you got sort of that speed control set on what the speed is going to be at. So you have to be really careful that the tires didn't spin out right away and then it would rut the lawn, especially if there was like a little bit of a slope or something like that. Then you could have those issues. And as those transmissions, and it wasn't so much the transmissions that would wear out, they had these little ratcheting mechanisms inside the tires that would flip open and grab the tire to move it forward. And then as you pull the mower back, the little ratchets would close and they would hit the little notches in the wheel, which is what makes the clicking sound in a Honda. When you pull it back, it goes tick, 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 tick. It's those little ratchets. Those would get all messed up from the rain. They would rust and stuff and then get stuck, and then the self-propel wouldn't work as well. So you'd be trying to get it going. If it was a little bit of a slope and stuff, then it would sometimes just engage kind of sporadically, and then you could rut easier. So with that, I would be a little bit more careful. But with the X Marks, because of the belt and stuff, you can and the Time Master, Turf Master, those are all the same system, where it's a belt going around the transmission, not a hydrostatic or like a gear shaft going like the Hondas are. So a little bit easier to be able to feather it in and kind of slowly work your way. The downside, of course, is the belts that you have to replace from time to time. But even then, if you take care of it, then I think you'll do fine with that stuff as well. So it's not too bad, not too out of the realm. I used to get comments all the time as well from guys using the commercial 30, saying that they go through belts all the time. Go through like one guy even said he replaced his belts 9 times in a season. I was like, what? How the heck are you replacing and he finally sold it because he said it's not worth it. It's just it's always going down. It's always it's costing so much money to replace belts and stuff. One thing I found with the commercial 30 is that when you engage the blades, it literally sounds like a helicopter taking off. Like you'll hear the motor going, it's like, and then you engage the self-propel and it's like, like it just sounds like the thing's gonna take off. But I noticed when I first got it and everything's like really tight, that if I would engage the self-propel too quickly, like if I just push the handle, it would sometimes almost stall because of how tight the belt was. And just from experience of always using machines that had manual PTOs, not automatic ones like a button, the manual ones that have like a lever, whether it's the Turf Tracer or even John Deere residential tractors that I had in the past, in the manuals it always said to slowly engage the PTO. So that's what I always did, and something I was just always used to. So I did the same with the commercial 30. Every time I engaged the blades, I would press the button and then just slowly push the handle to get the blades to slow, exactly the same as how I do with the self-propel to kind of get it on its way. I just press the blades and then slowly engage it to get it up to speed so that you're not putting extensive shock and wear on that belt. And I think that's why I went for 3 years, 3 seasons of using that mower full time without having to replace a belt. And finally, I replaced the belt because it was slipping in the winter, not because it broke. I never did break a belt on the commercial 30 in the 3 years that I was using it full time. Just in the winter time, I noticed as the weather temperatures dropped, the blades, when I would go to self-propel, I wasn't getting that full noise that you would hear, like that helicopter sound. It wasn't sounding at the same RPM, and it was because the belt was slipping. Because it was so cold, the pulleys metal will expand and contract in different temperatures. So in the cold, the metal would shrink, and then that sort of worn out belt after 3 years would slip a little bit more. Ironically, by just continuing to mow with it, the friction of the belt around that pulley would be enough to warm up the pulley, and then the pulley would expand enough that it would then grip, and then you would start to hear after about 5 minutes of letting it slip on there, that pulley would expand enough to actually grip the belt, and then it would be good to go. So I knew there that, okay, it's time to change the belt, right? Obviously, I'm not going to go through this every few lawns and stuff, because that's how it was. By the time I would put the mower away, put it in the trailer, go to the next house, do all the trimming and all that stuff, pull the mower out, it would start to slip again because it would cool down enough that those pulleys would, because I'm talking about like in October, early November and stuff, so it's cold already outside, so those pulleys would start to shrink, and because the belt was worn, you would get that slippage on there. So but yeah, if you engage those blades slowly, then I think you're gonna have no issues with it. Should be a fantastic mower for you. I think that maintenance will be the biggest thing for you, just to make sure that you're keeping up on the maintenance and doing that, and just making sure that you're on there, keeping up on it, checking those belts, checking those blades and all that sort of stuff. Just make sure I haven't missed. And just check my stats here. Any other questions from anybody? And thanks again, guys, for joining in here on this impromptu live stream. Like I said, in the past was just kind of checking out. I did a live stream a few months ago. I think it was back in October. Did the first one. Just kind of, that one was really impromptu. That one was just looking and, kind of the idea dawned on me. I watched Mac Landscaping. If you guys see his YouTube or his Instagram live show he does on Wednesday nights, which, hey, it's Wednesday, so you might want to go to Instagram and check that out later this evening, and probably in a couple hours I think he does it. I watched that one night, and it seemed like a lot of fun that they're doing live streaming, so I started looking into the live streaming and thought, hey, let me check out live streaming, but I think I'd like to do it on YouTube. So I think it was like a weekend after that that I happened to have some time where I had the house to myself, and just kind of grabbed the old laptop and plugged it in and tried it out, and was really just kind of looking at the buttons on how to do live streaming, and I was doing it right from the YouTube app, and just kind of figuring out. I didn't even know that you could do a private live stream at the time. So when I was messing around with it, I just hit live and was just kind of messing with buttons and trying to figure it out. And then people started joining in, and ended up having a fun conversation that night. So I thought that was pretty cool. Started to watch YouTube videos on how to do live streams, and quickly went down the rabbit hole. And here we are 2 months later. This is the first live stream I've done since that one in October, but here I am 2 months later using OBS software on a brand new computer, and I've got a second camera on the side. Just being able to do things with overlays and stuff like that. Just the geekery in me started to see the possibilities, and I was like, this is like so much fun. So something I definitely want to do regularly. And again, today was just one that I thought, hey, again, just the opportunity where I had some time by myself and thought, hey, this will be fun to hop on and play around with the new computer, with the OBS software, to do a live stream, to see what kind of all the buttons and stuff do. I had to work out that kink in the beginning of the sound and figure out that. Didn't have that part worked out, so glad I got that figured out. And just thought I would come on here and try out this live streaming software to kind of see what it is all about, with the chat windows and all that sort of stuff, kind of trying to figure it out, and also kind of seeing how this new computer handles the live streaming, because the old one would not do it. It did it on YouTube, just barely. It would do the live streaming just like a basic live stream there, but it couldn't do anything else. It couldn't do multiple cameras and stuff like that. It would just like freeze up and lock up, and just could not do it. Dylan, thanks for your help. For the info, like I said, I'll be visiting the dealership on Friday. Seeing them in person will probably be best. I'll let you know which one I end up purchasing. Yeah, that sounds good. One Java audio sound is low. All right, let me see if I can fix that. Thanks for letting me know. Let's see if it gives me any sort of defaults on that. And that's what today is all about, is just kind of learning all these. How's that? Is that a little bit louder? Or is that too low still? I don't even know if that did anything, but we'll see how that goes. I just put up the dBs a little bit as well. The other thing I plan on doing is using an actual like microphone for better quality as well. But I did not think to do that today. It was more just to see all the controls and stuff of what was going on with this OBS software. It is pretty intense. what you can do with it. I guess a lot of like the guys that do like the gaming, live streaming, and all that sort of stuff use this so that they can have like their game going, and then have like a window in the corner of you seeing their reaction as they're playing and stuff like that. And so it's got a whole lot of stuff going on, whole lot of different things going on. So it's just about checking it out and seeing, so I can see for the future. So I'm currently just using the microphone that's on the Mac itself. not using an external microphone, which I will plan to do in the future. Yeah, so at any rate, and the two cameras, those are working, so that's good. Like I said, yeah, it's kind of neat, just kind of learning. It lets me do a bunch of stuff on the software, so that's what today is about for me. Really is learning to do this sort of stuff. It lets me do things like play videos in the background. So here's a video of me about 4 properties on each battery charge. So on that particular mower, it comes with 2 of their 7.5 amp batteries. So I was able to do about 8 houses with that particular mower with the 2 batteries that it came with. I got a extra battery for it, so I had 3 batteries. And then here's where root density really plays a part. Dog keeps barking, so sorry about that. I can see out my security cameras. It's the paper boy delivering papers to the front door, so the dog is being protective. So with the commercial 21, the V series, I was able to do 8 houses with the 3 included batteries with it. The 2 included batteries with it. I got a 3rd battery so that I could do 12 houses with it, and it worked really, really well. Yeah, it did good. But root density was one of those things where I could do the first house. And then when I'd be done the first sort of 4 houses, and it was time to charge the battery, I'd have the second battery, of course. Because my root density was really good, I was able to stop off at home. All the properties I do are in the neighborhoods I service. So then I would stop off at home, drop off that battery on the charger, get it going, go back out. I'd still have the 2 other batteries to go, so I'd have like the next 8 houses. As I got close to, like, say, house 7 or so, I would stop back at home again, and then that first battery would be charged again, and then I'd be able to do up to 14, 15 houses in a day with those with the batteries. So it worked out really, really well. But yeah, fantastic mower. So I think that's about going to wrap it up for this test tonight. And checking out this OBS software. Thanks you guys for joining me. Of course, you guys can check me out there on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Make sure to follow me there, get some more content. And of course, you guys can always check check out the Lawn Care Business Success podcast, a new episode every Tuesday. So thanks for joining me, guys, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. All right, talk to you later.